We live in a world nowadays that is chronically suffering from loneliness. And if you're dealing with loneliness or have dealt with loneliness at one point in your life, you probably feel like you're the only one. You may feel like even like you're the black sheep. And what I can tell you is you are far from a black sheep. This is actually more normal, especially nowadays, than ever. Biologically, as humans, we're meant to be in tribe. We're meant to be in community. And not only are we meant to be in community, but we thrive in community. And over the years, ever since the creation and start of the internet, we have statistically been showing signs of becoming more and more isolated as a society, more now than ever. Right? We have Uber Eats that can come straight to our door. We can order our groceries. We have everything at our fingertips. We can turn on Netflix. Our world that we live in nowadays actually breeds isolation. Community is something that we now have to create effort around. And when you think about the concept of being lonely, I don't want you to think about it as a lack, right? Our body, our mind, and our soul is always providing us information on what we need to take action over in our life, what we're needing to grow. So if you're feeling this sense of yearning for connection, yet you don't know where to start, or maybe you hold shame around it and you find yourself sinking deeper and deeper into the hole, then this video is for you. If you're looking at loneliness as lack versus information, then a lot of the times you will find yourself sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into it, right? Maybe you won't see people for months, or maybe you work from home and you stay in your PJs all day. Maybe you don't leave the house to go to the grocery store, and now you've gotten to this point where you almost have social anxiety going outside. So if you find yourself in that hole, I want you to first give yourself compassion. It is such a, again, very normal thing. But when it comes to creating community, I think that we forget that there is a level of effort behind it. There's a level of vulnerability behind it. And there's the possible risk of being rejected, right? Exposing ourselves. So we hide away. What I want you to do in this process and keep in mind in this video is putting yourself out there, especially after some time. You're going to have to rip off the Band-Aid. It's going to be a little bit awkward at first. It might feel super uncomfortable. You might feel a little weird, but it's so worth it at the end. So continue listening, and I'm going to give you a few steps on how you can start to create action around finding your tribe. So first step, baby step, get outside as much as possible. And what I mean by getting out as much as possible is go to the grocery store, try to make eye contact when walking down the aisles, have a conversation with your cashier, actually ask them how they're doing. When they ask you how you're doing, offer more than just good. Rather than ordering your food to the door, go out in public, go sit in the restaurant, even if you're with yourself. When I was traveling alone a lot, and when I lived in different cities by myself, I didn't know anybody there. I would go and take myself out on dates periodically, right? And we hear so much about this nowadays, especially if you're trying to develop a relationship with yourself. It felt a little awkward at first, I'm not gonna lie, but the more and more I did it, the more I looked forward to it. And it's really interesting when you show up by yourself. What I personally noticed is people would start to make conversation with me versus, say, if you go with somebody else, there tends not to be that open dialogue for other people to come up to you. Instead of ordering maybe your Starbucks or coffee to the door, or even making your coffee at home, go and sit at a Starbucks, read the newspaper there, sit in the same chair. I know that there is some cost effectiveness when it comes to making your coffee at home, but in my mind, there's an investment that goes behind that $5 cup of coffee, especially if you're searching for a community. I just want you to exercise this muscle, right? Whenever we're putting ourselves into a space of growth or taking action into a new direction, we're starting to create a new muscle, right? The use of a new muscle. That's how I want you to think about it. And when you're first starting to create the use of a new muscle, you might be sore the next day, or you might not want to go back to the gym, or it might feel strenuous. It will start to get more and more easy, right? Our muscle holds so much memory. So think about it that way, especially if you have been having a hard time putting yourself out there. Now, when it comes to putting yourself out in public, I want you to pick at least 2 places that you're going to show up consistently throughout the week at the same time. So for example, there's this book called The Light Switch. And the book is about this man that would go into this coffee shop every single day and he would read the newspaper. And there's these FBI agents that wanted to basically recruit this man to become affiliate and a part of the FBI with them. They saw qualities within him that they really deemed would be beneficial to the team. So every single day, whenever they would see this man go into the coffee shop at the same time with his newspaper, they would send an FBI agent in to sit next to him, and he would start to read the newspaper as well at a separate table. Over the period of a month, 2 months, these men became friends, right? They found the common ground of both of them reading the newspaper, both of them seeing each other every day. Familiarity creates bonding. And before they knew it, they were actually really good friends, and they pulled him on to become an FBI agent. The theory behind this is that showing up consistently to the same place, whether that be a coffee shop, whether that be a workout class, whether that be a walk in the same park every single day. When I first moved to Vegas, I didn't know anybody except my brother, and I would show up to the same coffee shop down the way, and I loved the atmosphere, I loved the lighting, I loved the big tables, and I would go even if I didn't have work to be done. I'd go and I would sit. And before I knew it, over a month span, I would walk in and all the baristas knew my name. Some of them would be like, "Hi, Bailey." I knew all the other regulars that also went in there. I started to create conversations with them. I felt like I had my own community within this coffee shop. So community takes time. Community takes consistency, and community takes putting yourself out there. Building community is not a sprint, it is a marathon. So like I said, you're going to choose 2 to 3 places that you're going to show up consistently at the same time every single week, and spend a little bit of time there. Don't just pop in. Go take a seat. Go get a little comfortable. Allow yourself to be seen. Another step I want you to take is I want you to think about the people in your life right now. So maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's an acquaintance, maybe it is somebody that sits next to you in class, somebody that maybe you want to become friends with. You see the same values, you love their energy, you feel good when you're around them. I want you to take this sometimes scary yet courageous step of making the first move. When I said make the first move, I want you to notice how your body felt when I said that. Maybe there was a time in the past where you did make the first move and it wasn't reciprocated, right? When we make the first move, when we put out that olive branch, there is the chance of being rejected. But I want you to go back to when you were a little kid, right? When you were on the playground, go there with me in your mind, and maybe you saw somebody you wanted to be friends with and you're like, "You're my friend. We're now friends. Let's go play. I'm going to go on the swing. There's one open next to me." And before you knew it, you guys were stuck to the hip. Where did she go? Yeah. She's in there somewhere. And when we can allow ourselves to release that fear of not being accepted or maybe being misunderstood, then we can start to actually find our people again. So go rack your mind, rack your brain. Who is somebody that you want to reach out to? And maybe you invite them to your favorite restaurant during happy hour. Maybe they're going to become your Sunday morning walking buddy. Maybe you invite them to a pottery class, right? We bond over common goals and we bond over common interest. Make the first move. And the final step that I want you to start to take is actually use the internet a little bit. Use the internet, look up groups. You can use Facebook, you can use Meetup, you can even use, I know Bumble has a friends version where you can start to reach out using the internet and find communities that you can go and meet up with, right? I know Instagram and TikTok even have different outlets. There is so much resources at our fingertips, and this is where we can use internet to not stay stuck inside, but actually get outside. You can also think about the things that maybe you've been wanting to try, but you've been waiting for somebody to go do them with. Stop waiting. There are so many different communities and groups and classes out there that are already offering you the space to join without needing to wait for somebody to come with you. Maybe you're interested in pottery. Maybe you love to dance. Join a dance studio. Maybe you love yoga and you love being outside. Yoga in the park. There is so much community already being offered out there. It's just a matter of taking that scary step and showing up. Allow yourself to actually try to make conversation with somebody. Make eye contact. And I understand this might take a few times of showing up and you getting comfortable with your environment until you can take that step. But I want you to stretch yourself eventually and start to, again, make that first move. So while you are starting to expand yourself and find your tribe again, before you jump out there into the world, I want you to pull out a pen and paper. And I want you to write down your dream friend and or your dream community. Get detailed, have fun with it. How does a friend make you feel? What are your conversations like? Are you comfortable in silence? Is this friend witty? Are they creative? Are they a visionary? Are they deeply caring? Do they have a lot of depth? Within the community, is it supportive? Is it a group that wants to expand, that inspires you, that moves their body, that sweats together? Get detailed. What time of day do you want to see them? How often do you want to see them? Write out at least a full page of this dream friend and or community. And I want you to do this because when we get super crystal clear on what and who it is we want to attract into our lives, not just who, but the qualities that they embody, when you see them out in person, you will recognize them. You'll be like, hey, that's my person. That's who I just wrote down in my journal the other day. So keeping all of those steps and the homework in mind, I want you to also just finish this video on this one thought. While you're putting yourself out there, right, there is the possibility of not being accepted. There is the possibility of maybe being misunderstood. You could be the juiciest peach in the whole entire world and somebody's still not going to like peaches. Somebody can be in the most beautiful place in the world on vacation and have the most magnificent sunset in front of them, and they still won't be able to see the beauty in it. So while you're taking these steps of finding your people, I really want you to be grounded in your self-worth, who you are. Don't take things personally. Have fun with it. And again, think about that little girl that was on the playground that just chose her friends and knew she was worthy of them, even if they didn't want to go play with her back. So enjoy putting yourself out there. Be patient with yourself. Have compassion. And if you're looking for deeper community and you want to travel abroad with them, you can always visit our website, rechargethesoul.com, and come on one of our transformational yet super fun international retreats that we hold all over the world. But until then, have a good rest of your day and we will talk to you next time. Yeah.
That was good.